Hello everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is John from Just a Beginner Drawer. And for today's topic, I'm going to talk about probably one of my biggest enemies when it comes to improving, and something I believe plagues a lot of people. And the thing I'm talking about is self-doubt. See, self-doubt can, in some very rare occasions, I believe, be used in an appropriate manner to improve, though those occasions are so rare and so few apart that it's almost not even worth it to take the risk. It's rather than to listen to that voice, it's most likely almost always to not listen to that voice. And damn, that voice is loud and proud, or can be loud and proud a lot when it comes to my own improvement. One thing that I tell myself, and one thing that I truly believe in terms of becoming, when you're trying to get better, is what I'm trying to say, is that you have to believe in yourself a lot. Like, you have to be 100% without a doubt that you will get better and that your chances and opportunities will arise. No matter how much times you may stumble or how much times you may not see any kind of immediate progression, you'll have to believe that you're going to get somewhere. And self-doubt is always there, just to be there, just to find a way to push you down and make that challenge just so much harder. The thing that comes to me is I feel like my mind is very impatient sometimes. It wants results very quickly. And with anything, one of the key aspects is to be patient. My motto that I wrote down, it's on my desk, is patience and constant conscious practice are the things that are going to get you there. And of course, lots of times my brain doesn't like to listen to that first half, or even that second half. It likes to think that I draw for one day and then tomorrow I'll be successful, which is, I wish that could be the truth, but then everyone would be successful easily, and there wouldn't be a challenge anymore. And one thing that self-doubt I do believe affects a lot, not just in the sense of your self-confidence, but it also affects your ability to produce. Because the more I realize your emotions when it comes to art are heavily affected by, meaning that if you're feeling sad, you will unintentionally create something that looks sad when you're drawing, or that your lines may seem sad. And it's kind of hard to explain right now. I don't have enough experience to be able to give you a very good definition of what I mean, but I'm sure when you start drawing and figuring that stuff out, you'll know exactly what I'm saying. And so if you allow that voice, that self-doubt, to become too obtrusive or disturbing, it can really, really affect your quality of work. It will actually start to hinder your focus, decrease your opportunity of progression. It will be more or less a self-fulfilling prophecy, meaning that the voices say you can't do it, and then you won't be able to do it. And so the voices will think to itself, oh, I'm proving I'm right. And the brain likes to know. I feel like from my end of the woods, my brain really likes to know immediately if what I'm doing is going to lead somewhere. And so if I allow myself to be affected by my self-doubt and then start to draw badly, my brain gets the immediate satisfaction from knowing the result. And that result is failure. And so my mind starts to dictate my position to failure. I firmly believe that one's self-image or perception heavily dictates the mentality or perspective or worldview of that person. So when you have all this self-doubt come in and tell you all these bad negative things, and your self-confidence goes down the drain, your perspective and your ideas of the world will go down the drain as well. You'll see a very negative picture of your existence. And I believe that if you have a positive outlook and you look at things optimistically, you'll start to develop a positive form of existence. Of course, for certain scenarios and certain cases, this may be fully not right, or whatever the case may be, but for me personally, that's how I perceive it, and that's how it is working for me. So one thing for sure when it comes to combating these self-doubts is to take the most positive outlook that I can. At the end of the day, I think my mind just wants to not allow me to fail, so it doesn't even give me a chance to even take the opportunity to win, because there is an opportunity to fail just as well. It's rather don't even try at all than try and fail, right? And so rather than looking at it as a fail, or looking at something as I'm going to immediately be broken by it, I think if I'm going to succeed, even if that percentage is so low, I have to believe I'm going to succeed. And I think that does more or less stop the voices for a good amount of time. If it's just a calm voice and it's just quiet in the back of your head, ignoring it and telling yourself that you're going to be there, you're going to get there, is what I believe, for me, the best way to get through that. And another piece of that is coming to acknowledge to yourself or tell yourself that what you're doing, even if it's not the most perfect practice or there's much more things you could be doing to become better, but you have to idolize that what you're doing is still lots. Not everybody can just sit down and do something every day with the intent to get better at it. Not everybody can will themselves out of bed or will themselves out of whatever they're doing to say, you know what, I'm going to focus for the next few hours and I'm going to pay attention. And if you're doing that for a consistent amount of time, that should be enough. You should be able to acknowledge that and use that as your fire to keep pushing through. Now, of course, there are occasions, and there was actually one very recently I could bring up, where that doubtful voice becomes the loudest thing in your head. Almost so loud that you can feel like you're physically feeling it outside of your head or and around you. And those I don't really have a clear answer for yet, but I tried something, and so far it worked pretty good. Of course, I have to see the more times it comes back, I have to see doing this will work or not. And that recent scenario where that happened was like a few days after I posted my most recent video. I had this immediate sense of doubt come over me, and it was as I was drawing something. And I drew something I thought I could draw, and I probably could have, but I wasn't too focused and I didn't draw it as good. And immediately after that, the moment that my brain saw that it wasn't done as good, it just attacked at that moment. All those doubts just attacked me at my weakest, and I could not draw anymore for that day, because I felt like I would just hate my art, hate everything that I do, just from that one simple face drawing that I was doing, which was chaotic. It was so hard to even comprehend how to fight through this. And fortunately, someone close to me had told me that maybe you should really just take a break from drawing, period. Take a break from anything to do with drawing, anything to do with anything. Just take 1 or 2 days to refocus. And still, I have this mentality where I have to do it every day, no matter what. Even if it's the worst destructive mental state, I have to do it still. Even if it's just an hour, I have to do something. And so I was very hesitant to doing that. But then I did it, and then came back the next 2 days, and I realized that it was probably the most important thing I could have done. To tell myself to stop completely and refocus was probably the most important thing I could have done at this point. Keep in mind that I'm just finishing up 6 months of this stuff, and as I say, the idea of taking a day off never even crossed my mind. But for now, it worked. And I guess the takeaway from that scenario is that if you're so entangled with these doubts, it is okay to take a day off. It's okay to step away completely for a bit. And my fear on stepping away comes from the idea that I feel like if I take even 1 day off, I'll lose a year's worth of progress, which is funny because I haven't even done a year of progress to begin with. So it's so outlandish when you really think about it. So another thing I should also kind of bring up on, something maybe not too much people realize, is that doubt, just as anything else in your body or in your mind, learns with every time that it's awakened or for every time that it's around. It adapts to its environment. It tries to stay relevant constantly. And so if you constantly give it opportunities where you listen to it or that you allow it to affect your day, it will become better the next time, to the point where it'll come back one day and it'll be almost 2-3 steps ahead of you. It'll be almost impossible to even move forward. So it's better to, as I say again, it's better to completely ignore that voice from the first time. Though I guess something I should mention to myself is that voice most likely will never really go away. The best thing I can do right now is to get so good at ignoring it that it's an automatic response to not even listen to it anymore when it shows up. Because I don't think that voice will ever completely dissipate and you'll always be free of doubt. At least I don't know now. Maybe that does happen at some point many years down the line. But all I know is that right now I just have to learn to ignore it, because I'm starting to understand that it affects your process so much that you will start to hate your art without even taking this time to understand where your art even is. Like the first line or 2 lines you'll hate, and then from there on you'll purposely draw it bad to prove to yourself that it's bad. And now I kind of have a whole different appreciation for my own drawings, and I can start to see that appreciation show up. I'm starting to see myself more willing to take chances and do certain things that I thought I would never have done before, because I'm more freeing with the idea that just take the chance. Don't listen to that voice in your head that tells you not to do it. Just go for it, man. One thing, I guess, if you were to listen to my whole shebang, the best thing to take away from all this is that you can say no to your doubt. Your doubt is not an automatic yes, or I need to listen to this voice. You have the ability and the free will to just say no to it and ignore it. And as easy as it sounds, of course, it's not the most easiest thing to do sometimes. Even at the worst, in terms of your improvement, even if you feel like you're not improving at all, it's best to just say no to it and sit back and find to yourself what you may need to do to improve your drawing, rather than listen to it and use that as a way to improve your drawing. Well, anyways, that's pretty much all I have to say about that, at this moment at least. And if you made it all the way here, and listened to my voice, or maybe just stayed for the video, I have to say I thank you very much, and I appreciate it so much. And I hope to see you all soon.